Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Call It Anything podcast. I am Jack, joined by my guest.
Mr. Solis.
All right, and we are back here today with another episode, getting things started. Sir, how have you been?
Oh, Jack, this month has been wild, but I'm good. Thank goodness. The biggest change is that I've left Bloomfield High School, no longer its director of instruction as of yesterday, technically. And as of now, Jack, getting ready for August, I am the 11th grade math teacher for Alliance Simon Tech High School.
Nice. That's good to hear, sir.
With a little summer school gig starting July 9th at our old stomping grounds, Tajima.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to go help some ninth graders avoid retaking that class.
That should be fun.
And how are you, sir?
Doing all right as well. Have had a pretty eventful past month as well. Just been working, though, mainly. Living that adult life, for the most part.
Yeah. I got to send you a meme that I saw on Instagram that my brother and sister and I enjoyed.
Living that adult life, I say, as I look around my room filled with a Squirtle figurine that sits on my PC right next to a Kool-Aid Man pop with posters of sports, anime, music all around my room. Living that adult life.
Hey, you know who made those things? Adults.
Oh, man. But, yeah, for the most part, I've been doing well. Can't really think of any major updates. For the most part. Waiting to see. Some of my friends were talking about potentially coming out to visit me. They said July. I already have my schedule for 3 weeks of July with only 2 weeks left that hasn't been put in, and one of them should be getting put in actually like soon. So I'm just like, hey, if you guys are gonna come in July, you're running out of time.
Oh, my. Yeah, I certainly owe the Castillos a visit, and part of the reason why I haven't is this transition between schools,
Yeah.
needing to sort of get it going and underway before I do something crazy like interstate travel.
No, we know the real reason. Mr. Solis heard my list and doesn't want to come visit this giant nerd who put Bryan Danielson as his number one wrestler of all time. Favorite
Like,
wrestler.
I feel like I think you said it in the video. Like 1 and 2 could have gone either way. I mean, I don't know. I just think after doing this podcast with you for what, 4 years, we're not oohing and ahhing and looking forward to Bryan Danielson matches.
But a lot to look forward to as we turn towards the wrestling world, especially because 11 days time, all in, AEW's big show.
I thought you were going to say 11 days from now, Saturday night, main event in Atlanta.
12 days from now, Evolution. That's had to change all its plans and only has one match scheduled with 2 weeks to go.
Goodness. And then,
to be fair, we could say the same thing about AEW only having like 3 confirmed matches for their biggest show.
biggest show of the existence of that company.
Yeah, it's like 3 matches are confirmed. Like, hello. Oh, well, technically they added the Casino Gauntlet matches, but like you think of like the big matches with stories tied to them, and you're like, why is there only 3 of them?
Right.
But we can save any ranting about the outside wrestling world for the end. Right now, we have to talk about Night of Champions. What were your thoughts heading into this show, sir?
Heading into the show, I don't know if I feel very strongly about it. Oh, Punk versus Cena. That maybe has my intrigue attention the most. And Karrion Kross getting a match. I'm really excited about that for now.
Yeah, saw a lot of people excited for that one too. But getting into this show, we started off with the King of the Ring finals, which was kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
And for the second year in a row, Randy Orton finds himself in the finals.
Yeah, he does.
He faces off against Cody Rhodes, and a lot of people weren't too happy with the way the King of the Ring tournament played out.
Tell me more, Jack. What did you hear?
Well, first off, people weren't happy with how short it was. You know, the first round being 4 fatal 4-ways. Same with the women.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I saw a couple people kind of feel disappointed by the options that they went with. You know, like Jey Uso being the surprise participant in that match between Bronson Reed, Rusev, and Sheamus. And then, you know, just kind of like the final 4 being Sammy, Randy, Cody, and Jay. It's like, sure, they're like the big names, but like not a lot of people want to see them, you know, in the sense of like they're trying to think of unique matchups. They're trying to think of what can be a big match, big story for Cena at SummerSlam, you know. Which, I mean, any of these two could potentially be big matches, but at the same time, it's rematches that we're looking at, you know.
Yeah, I felt a certain way about the 4-ways, the fatal 4-ways, right? It's different. You got to give it that. You got a lot of folks that they don't want to win, but they don't want to pin. That's why you do those multi-man matches, right? And you just had triple threats as the qualifiers for Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So, you know, this was, I think, a worthwhile attempt at diversifying their portfolio. But, yeah, I feel them.
Yeah, and I think the thing that especially hurt it was, like, the show taking place so closely to, like, so close in the month from when they just finished up the last pay-per-view that they did, you know? And then they do Saturday night main events here and now, so it's like those are other big shows you have to plan for. So it's like they kind of don't give themselves enough time to run a proper tournament. You know, even if it's just single elimination, it's like they don't kind of give themselves enough time. Like I kind of feel that way sometimes about like the Owen Hart tournament that AEW does, where it's like sometimes it feels like they don't give it enough time to like happen, you know, like it seems like a lot of these tournaments now they happen like super quickly rather than being like more drawn out in a way, you know.
You know what I think too? Looking back to yesteryear, these tournaments were, I don't know, a little more exciting. They also don't do like, I also think they're making every attempt to not have somebody fight more than once in a night. You know, the original design of the tournament is like, you know, a guy might fight 3 times in one night, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's something they want to do if it could be avoided. Like, I think in a rare instance of preserving their talent.
All right. What was I gonna say? It was something about like, which yeah, I kind of understand. There we go. I was talking about I was gonna think about the whole like multiple matches in one day. Like, you do kind of got a feel for the wrestlers and like imagine that like, does it make for a compelling story to see like wrestlers on both sides of the gauntlet like run the tournament with multiple matches in one night? But then it's like, well, how much is that going to affect the following matches because of fatigue, potential injury? You know, like a lot could go wrong with that.
Yeah.
I especially think of like the times when the G1 does it, where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do the semis and the finals in the same night," and it's like, with how hard they go in those G1 matches, you kind of worry a bit when they do stuff like that.
And, you know, that tournament's more than just a night. It's like 3 or 4 days. You know what I mean? So they're like spreading the love. Like, all right, semifinals one night, finals the other night. There's a reason to come to all of them.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? But let's get straight into this one, sir. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. What were your thoughts on this one?
This was a good match. It was, I don't think, as good as like the finals last year. It told them, I think its priority was to tell a story that I think it told pretty well. I mean, I feel like there's a contrast to be told between Randy Orton, what he's willing to do to win the big one in this later stage of his career as a more mature person, and Cody Rhodes, and what is he willing to do? Because the answer to that question is what cost him the championship at WrestleMania 41 against Cena.
Yeah, and we kind of saw that interesting dynamic play out, especially, but the ending, not to jump straight to it and like spoil things, but like the ending really makes me like kind of wonder where are they going with Cody, like
Yeah.
in the sense of that argument about like what happened at Mania, like it really makes me curious, like what direction they're gonna go.
Well, it's all the way to SummerSlam because he picked up the win, Jack. He saw an opportunity. He threw Randy Orton into that metal brace behind the turnbuckle, ribs first. And this is a stark contrast, Jack, to the guy who wouldn't hit him. Was it with a chair or with the belt?
I think it was the belt.
He just couldn't pull the trigger. Oh, softy.
Yeah, but he does it now, and
Yes.
it gets him the win.
Hey, just other stray observations about this match. Cody and Randy were talking so much in the match, he could have uploaded it as his next podcast.
Oh man, that always cracks me up when people catch that, especially because the biggest culprit of that is John Cena. You hear him
Yeah,
calling
but this
full
one,
matches.
like Cody was literally like cupping his hand and leaning in, and it was very wild. Were there any spots stand out to you, Jack, besides the finish?
Um, Nothing much stood out for me from this match. Like it wasn't bad, but I don't know. I didn't think there was any like big spots that stood out.
Right on. There was a Cody cutter into an RKO, but
That was pretty good.
I agree with you.
Yeah, nothing too crazy, but we should expect some craziness in the next match because it's Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight.
I think they said it in a Riyadh Boulevard street fight.
That's weird. I didn't even hear that part.
Yeah.
Oh well, they are facing off in this street fight. Um, Very interesting to see it, but everyone was kind of looking at like what was going to happen, like either during or post match, because of the whole storyline with Roxanne, but also like because again, like I mentioned at the start, we still technically have Evolution to build towards, so everyone's kind of wondering like what's going to happen, and that kind of played a hand in my predictions because I told, I forgot to share my predictions with Mr. Solis when it happened, but my dad picked Rhea. I picked Raquel, and my logic was, hey, maybe it's her getting this big win to kind of build to something maybe at Evolution, because we heard with Liv getting injured, there's a lot of plans getting changed for Evolution, so I was thinking maybe Raquel has some part in that in some way.
And I went with Raquel because Roxanne Perez exists and she's trying to win, the good graces of the whole Judgment Day. What better way to do it than to help her, potential friend win a big rivalry match?
Yeah. Uh, Sorry. And this is a very big rivalry in the sense that, like, they've been feuding with one another on and off since, like, NXT.
They did a good job of capturing that in the promo video in the kickoff show. I thought that was interesting. Like, they had the whole thing set up. They went all the way back to when they were friends. They had matching tattoos.
Any spots stand out to you in this one, sir?
Oh, this one had a few, I think. In no particular order, Rhea Ripley making it rain cane shots on Raquel. Like it's a funny it's a funny feeling, or at least it's like Raquel's in pain, but the second she got her first with that cane, she jumped and ran as if she weren't in pain. It's a certain kind of pain, Jack, where you're like, I will muscle through everything I feel now, so I don't have to feel that again. And it sounded great. Then she tied Rhea up in the ropes and gave it back to her. Oh, that sounded good.
Yeah. There was also Rhea taking off her belt to just constantly whip Raquel.
Mm-hmm.
But the big spot is the ending, and I'll admit, it had me so confused as to what they were going to do. They have a table propped up in the corner. Rhea stands Raquel on it and hits her with a riptide from there to the mat to get the win. Was kind of just wondering. I was I kind of at one point realized, oh yeah, it's gonna be like a riptide, but I was like, this is kind of like a bit of a convoluted spot a bit.
Yeah, I wonder if she like. Well, if you wanted to do an avalanche riptide and you got somebody as big as Raquel, how do you get her up there?
Yeah, and it was a bit scary because it's like you saw the table just wobbling back and forth. So it was like,
Yeah, it was like 80% kind of set up, and I wondered if that 20%. How important was that 20%? Because they didn't pull the legs out on like one side, but it worked.
yeah. Oh, and then you're always shouting out commentary. Michael Cole and Wade Barrett were bringing up that they had a last woman standing match in NXT before, and Raquel got the victory there.
Nice.
Yeah, so good little reference of their history.
Hmm. Hey, something else. I like to point out the aesthetic choices. The Judgment Day kind of owned the colors purple and black, so I liked Rhea's deliberate choice to wear Home Depot orange, to accent her outfit. Otherwise, she kind of defaults to purple as well. So you had purple versus orange. They look good.
Yeah, my dad brought that up because he was like, "What's with the Halloween esque gear on Rhea?" Because it looked like a pumpkin basically, and it was just funny to see like that difference in color.
Hmm.
But Rhea wins, and then the next night, or was it the next night, or was it this previous? No, I think it was. Oh, no, wait. Sorry, I'm getting my dates mixed up. So it was this past Monday, yesterday. Rhea
Yeah.
came out and challenged Io for her women's championship.
Awkwardly enough, she did not. Io came out and challenged Rhea.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
She got to choose her own opponent in a what 10-minute promo that could have been five. It was a little awkward,
Yeah, and
and I think that kind of happens if you have babyface versus babyface because no one's gonna insult each other. No one's gonna, there was no tension.
yeah, and I don't know. It just the booking with the women's main titles is very confusing to me because it's just like I get it. I get WWE's different. They don't want their world champions wrestling a whole lot, but it's like Io hasn't defended this belt since like Mania, and now the first defense she's going to get since Mania is against the woman she beat for the title and defended it against in that triple threat. Another one-on-one match between the two of them. Like, I don't know. And then there's the looming threat that Rhea wins the title back, and it's like, it's not that I don't like Rhea, but it's like there was so much optimism with this Io reign after that Mania match. Like, man, she could have and the Raws that followed where she was like wrestling on Raw pretty frequently. It was like you were thinking to yourself, man, they just called up all these new people. She could be having defenses against Roxanne, Stephanie, a lot of the other women on Raw. Like, eventually when the feud's done, she could have even had a defense against Lyra. It's like there's a lot of different options, and now it's like she hasn't defended this title since Mania, and her first defense since then is a person she's been directly involved with almost this entire year.
It's wild. Like, so The rumor is that Liv Morgan's injury has thrown everything out the window, but I wonder how and why could you throw everything out the window? Couldn't you at most just throw out one thing out the window?
Yeah, yeah. And then like it's the same thing with Tiffany on SmackDown, where it's like it feels like she's been defending against Nia and like having a feud with Nia for like quite some time.
Yeah,
So yeah, women's booking right now is very confusing, at least to me.
I'm with you. Raquel needed this win and she never looked better. Like she looked really good. And like we've all waited a long time to be able to say that.
Yeah, definitely. But we move on to our next match, and it's one that many people have been waiting for because it involves Karrion Kross getting a match.
Mm-hmm. His
Karrion
first in
Kross.
WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia.
Yeah. He gets to face off against Sami Zayn. Notable number 8 on a certain person's list.
Ah,
What do you think of this one, sir?
Jack, I have WWEshop.com open, Karrion Cross shirt selected 2X, and I want a reason to buy it. I did it. I waited. And, I like the guy. I like that he's cutting to the chase and he's not talking cryptically anymore. Now he's just outright and saying, Sami Zayn, you pretend to be a good guy, but you're not a good guy. Like, I love that. I think it's got legs. I think he can go around telling everybody that, and sometimes being right, and then sometimes being wrong. So like the women's match before this, there's a lot of different ways that you could have ended this. And Jack, I wonder what do you think about how they went with it?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like I didn't like understand like the ending of this match a whole lot. Like I was like it just it didn't really play out that right, you know?
No, no, it didn't. You know what's funny? When Karrion Cross hit the Saito suplex in the middle of the match, like I don't know, 5 minutes in, I knew I was cooked. I was like, damn, he hit it now.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like it wasn't the match also just it didn't feel I don't know what's the way to put it, but like it didn't really feel like it was serving the purpose of like the story they've been telling up until this point, you know?
No,
Like
which
it,
is which is surprising since it's a Sami Zayn match, and you've heard a lot about Sami Zayn and how he approaches matches.
yeah, like I was just kind of confused because I'm like, with the way the story's been building up, this match isn't really going the way you would think it goes. You know?
Yeah, I like there's like it happens literally once. I like Scarlett whispering to Karrion Cross, and then Karrion Cross like he just changes his approach like literally on a dime, and I'm like more of that please. But to your point, it's a very normal match that Sami Zayn wins very normally. He doesn't cheat, doesn't threaten to cheat, doesn't threaten to turn to the dark side. I guess the big takeaway is, Sami Zayn, the perennial good guy, is good after all.
Yeah, and I don't know, like it was just kind of confusing to me, you know?
Yeah, the Karrion Cross like um clotheslines into the corner and then getting caught by the haluva kick. That was an all right set of the haluva kick.
Yeah,
But yeah, I didn't buy the shirt just to put a bow on that.
yeah. Sammy comes out with the win, and a lot of people are just like kind of similar to the Raquel thing. There's someone that really needed the win, you
Yes.
know, and they don't get it.
But you know what he got on Monday? He got a shirt on WWE Shop called Good Soldier. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. There's hope, a glimmer of hope. He's a good soldier, Jack.
Um, but we move on to our next match, and that is for the United States Championship. Jacob Fatu defending against Solo Sikoa.
Jack, I have WWE shop open. I have it open to multiple Jacob Fatu shirts, and I want WWE to give me a reason to buy one.
Yeah, it's so funny that I look back at this year's WrestleMania and I think about how optimistic things looked, you know, like not to be very down on WWE, you know, but it's like after that triple threat, I'm convinced Io is going to be my women's wrestler of the year. She's going to, even if I don't watch a lot of the stuff she does on TV, it's going to be up there as like one of my favorite title reigns, you know. I'm looking at Jacob Fatu winning that U.S. title. I'm like, okay, this could be interesting. You know, this could be a very interesting title run for him. I'm looking at like a lot of the cases like that, and then here we are, entering July, and it's just none of it's looking good. You know, like you just said with Karrion Kross. I'm looking at a lot of the stuff I was hopeful for after Mania, and I'm like, we're cooked. It's not looking good.
And like, to call a spade, you're not short on TV time. You have hours of weekly programming to spread the love across. Like, we're not short on time. And I wonder how many of these guys, like, are hurt? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if they're not telling us. That's the only way I can wrap my head around this. And then lastly, Jack, I think that if this were 20 years ago, and we were burning these guys out at both, you know, burning their candles from both ends. And every match, I mean, every event had like a dozen matches, AEW style. You know, things would be different and more entertaining. Is it sustainable? We didn't concern ourselves with that 20 years ago.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't, a lot of it isn't making sense, you know. And, like, I like how you brought up that, like, hey, maybe it is just injuries, you know, but also it's like, I don't know, it's tough to buy that sometimes. And then, like you said, all this TV time and, like, it feels like anytime, like, the reason I stopped watching the weekly shows is because it seems like every time, like, I'm told about the highlights, it's the same people, you know, and it's like, I get it, we're telling stories, but it's like, why is it always the same people, the same sort of rendition of matches, you know? Like, the Judgment Day just won the titles back, the tag titles back. It's like, we're just going in a circle at this point, you know? It's like, how do you have 5 hours of TV time and yet you aren't able to do more with a lot of these different people, you know? But all that time, but we got to think about the sponsors, sir. We got to make time for all the sponsors and the commercials and the rundowns.
At it with them sponsors. They're not giving me any money.
You want to know what happened today at work, sir?
What happened?
An ad started playing during our music for the place I work at. And one of my coworkers was like, when did we get ads on our music? And then they heard what the ad was and they were like, why are we playing an ad for here? The people are already here. Like, you play ads outside so that people get drawn in. Why are you playing ads for the place while they're already here? You're not going to draw any more people in when they're already here.
Wow.
It was so funny. It was like, we just heard the ad come on the radio and we're like, why are we getting ads? And the funny part was a song got interrupted, and I heard even one of the store's managers go, why is an ad interrupting this song? Like, it really shouldn't be interrupting it. Some technical difficulties, but we are back. So I don't know. I think
I love the advertisers. All hail the advertisers.
That just goes to show we should not criticize our advertisers. If anything, we should look for sponsors for this podcast to appease the great advertisers, you know?
What was that, Jack? I couldn't hear you. I was putting an Amazon order for dude wipes, Slim Jim, and we're going to stay away from the whiskey and the vodka that Cody Rhodes is all about.
Oh man. But let us move forward. Oh wait, I just realized we talked all this about advertising. We didn't even talk about the match and its outcome.
Which match are we on?
We talked more about being upset about the way things are, but we never actually talked about what happened in the match and what happened.
Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross?
No, we were talking about Fatu and Sikoa.
Oh man, this one had so much going on. You're absolutely right.
Special delivery for the man who hates CM Punk.
Hey.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's the only one that we have. Show him.
He just handed me this giant spoon. See if there's something smaller. Anyway, Sikoa
Jacob versus Solo. This had all the story. This had, and what? Got to give the devil his due. I thought Triple H wasn't going to give us this match until WrestleMania next year. # long-term storytelling. # huh. But here we go. In Money in the Bank, we threatened and teased the breakup. They broke up. This is it. Having their blow-up match. Solo is like a male SmackDown Raquel Rodriguez in the sense that he's long overdue for something, And I guess you couldn't give it both of them. It had to be one of them. So you kind of understand why they went with. It's funny how I said that Raquel could have won with interference from Roxanne, push that story forward. Here we have Solo winning with interference, pushing a story forward. So, fine. Couldn't them both. Had to pick one. They picked, the good one. We got everything we want out of these two. Moonsault. The running butt thing into the corner. But who should be there in a black hoodie? It's Tonga Loa, everyone's favorite wrestler, OMG.
And then after him, it's JC Mateo showing up.
JC Mateo taking his sweet old time getting to the ring. I've been saying it for years. The man needs to do something about the dad bod.
But Jacob Fatu, he handles all of it. He's shown he's different than others. He handles his business. He's going to get the win. Except who is that? That tall person showing up to attack him.
That tall person that looks kind of like Tangaloa or Tamatonga. It's, do you know his new WWE name?
Tala Tonga, I think is what it is.
Tala Tonga, what are you doing here? It's Hikuleo hitting the most awkward choke slam I've ever seen because, Jack, listen, they made those commentary tables a little taller and they made them a lot more reinforced so it doesn't look like it hurt at all.
Yeah, that looked horrible. But I can't believe it. They bring in Hikuleo, who has been on the bench for a whole year, by the way. They signed him last year, I'm pretty sure. And
take it easy, Jack, your bench talk.
They haven't really had anything for him to do. They finally bring him. I find it crazy. They named the man Tala Tonga. The taller Tonga.
Oh, no.
But Solo gets one more reinforcement.
Yeah, he does. And adds fuel to the speculation that we're going to get that all Samoan War Games match in November. Buckle up, Jack. You want to talk about how things are the same from week to week? It's Bloodline 4.0.
Oh, man.
Bring Zilla.
Just hearing the all Bloodline.
Journey fought today. He's out of jail. Bring him too. Kishi, his long-awaited return. He'll be wearing his podcast headphones on his way to the ring. He'll be yapping all the way to the ring.
It's going to be like that time Booker T was doing commentary and also fighting in the ring.
That wasn't Booker T. That was Black Snow.
But, oh man, just hearing you mention the whole all Bloodline War Games, it just makes me want to skip out on Survivor Series and in its entirety.
No way, Jack. It's going to be must see.
Must see with even more family members coming to interrupt.
Goodness gracious.
But Jacob Fatu loses the title, but
He loses, Jack.
if it
All
is
gas, no brakes got stopped.
if it is his to regain, though, I have a feeling his chase this time around will probably be a bit more better. Not that him winning the title and the lead up to that winning it from LA Knight wasn't like good, but it's like, there's more of like a story to be told here with his chase.
Yep.
But good match, I think I like this one a lot.
Like when I'm watching it, I realized like that we couldn't do what I wanted them to do in the Raquel match and this on the same night.
Yeah, very true.
Maddening that they booked these for the same night because it's not like we don't have a Saturday night's main event or a Money in the Bank that desperately needed another match, But
Yeah.
well, I know.
But no, we have 2 nights of SummerSlam to build to eventually, sir.
Oh boy. What was I gonna say about Jacob? Oh, all signs lead to like two different bloodline, two versions of the bloodline. Jacob will start recruiting the Usos maybe, but I would love it if Jacob was like, I'm not recruiting anybody. I could beat you all single handedly, and then he does like honestly, like Stone Cold used to. You remember Stone Cold assembling a team to take down DX? You do not, sir. You remember Stone Cold assembling a team so that he could take down the Ministry? No. Do you remember Stone Cold assembling a team so he could take down the corporation?
Nope. The man did it himself.
That's right.
He was DIY before DIY were even a thing.
Did he feud with the Nation?
I don't think
If
so.
he did, I don't think so. How about what was Bret Hart's Canadian group called? The Hart Foundation.
Yeah, the Hart
Or the
Foundation.
Hart Foundation. Took care of him.
Jacob.
He took care of a couple of different iterations of DX.
Jacob is. It's not necessarily intimidating. Dang, I lost the word I was gonna say, but like, Jacob is credible enough to be able to do that, and the bloodline that Solo has right now is they're at a point that they could take Jacob beating down on all of them, and like it wouldn't really hurt them. Like no one would think of them any less credible if Jacob just like pulled a Austin on them and was like beating all of them up.
One by one in the back,
Yeah. But we move on to our next match, the second tournament final, the Queen of the Ring final between Asuka and Jade. Sir, what were your thoughts on this one?
Oof.
Oof. Oof is a good word to describe.
My friend from school, she had a baby, a little girl. Her name is Jade. So I texted her that morning. I said, "Hey, Jade's gonna fight for the Queen of the Ring." She said, "Let's go, Jade." And I didn't text her back, but I knew if I did, I would say, "Hey, good news, bad news. Jade won, but she shouldn't have."
Yeah, when I was going over this with my dad, it was a bit difficult because he obviously enjoys both women and their work, but I don't know. Like I was telling my dad, I was like, this is the tough part about our predictions is that all three of us kind of go like 50-50 half the time. Like a lot of our predictions are done from the basis of we're picking because we know what WWE is going to do. Like that's how predictable WWE's got, and we can make these predictions because we know what they're like. But then some of our other picks were like, we're going with what we want, And for example, with me, I'm the only one that doesn't get a prediction right for this match because I chose Asuka because it's what I wanted the most because it was, the more compelling outcome with Asuka and Io having a match at SummerSlam. Asuka just returned. There's a lot more to do there, but when I was talking to my dad about it, I was like, it's not me trying to be mean to Jade. It's not me trying to talk down her work and try and say that she isn't improving, but it's like, if Asuka isn't able to have a good match with you, we gotta have some conversations, and the two went out there and did what they could, but if you're like, again, it's not trying to be mean, but if you're still if your matches are only still being around 8.5 minutes, there's got to be some discussions had about progression and overall in-ring work.
I agree, Jack. And like we said, with 5 hours of programming every week, like there's time. I don't know why. Like I feel like 20 years ago, not to be the boomer here, but I feel like if she were on TV every week doing house shows, just like getting reps in, she'd gotten better. But I think the reality is she's fought like he had a 4-way match to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
She beat whoever she beat on SmackDown. I mean, goodness gracious. I agree with you, Jack, that like if besides going, who would WWE pick? If you were honestly asking who would win in a legit shoot fight, it's 100% Asuka. And like there were a lot of moments in the match where I feel like Jade wasn't on the attack. She wasn't being proactive. And that was showing too much. I wish I could see past that. Just standing there menacingly, except not even menacingly.
Yeah, and just to be fair, I have this very same criticism for a lot of the talent in AEW, especially a lot of day oneers or almost day oneers who feel like they haven't really improved. Because it's like one of the biggest benefits that everyone would say about AEW when it like first started was, look, they're gonna allow you to work the indies. They're gonna allow you to work all these different companies. You can go to Japan and AEW will approve it, But all of that doesn't matter if the talent themselves don't want to do that stuff, It's like there's a bunch of talent in AEW that why are they as good as they are? Because then when they see that they're not on TV or they're not on TV frequently, like even if they're on TV weekly, they know it's like, you're not going to improve just wrestling one match a week. You got to go out there, especially if you're in that lower to mid card, it's like you got to be out there refining your work. And so there's a lot of talent out there that they take as much booking as they can. They do a lot of matches. They do, matches in Japan and training out in Japan, and it's like they do that. And then there's other talents who it's like they're just kind of coasting, And everyone's always saying, like, this talent should do this and this, but it's like, okay, but it's up to the talent at the end of the day on whether they want to do that. And a lot of them have shown that they're kind of just fine with coasting. They're kind of complacent with their spot,
That's a bit presumptuous, Jack. Who knows what lies in the hearts of sinful men? I think one thing we can say is that there are guys on that roster who 5 years later don't seem to have progressed as much as we were hopeful for 5 years ago. And maybe to your point, we don't see them wrestle on TV. We also don't see them wrestling in places that would have them if they went looking or were booked out there, right? Like, trying to think, Tony Storm's making appearances all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. She's going to be in Portland in July. She's popped up in places, right? Like, so I won't subscribe to your wonderings as to the why, but I will adhere to the observations of the what.
Yeah. And
hey, look at you indirectly taking all the shots at MJF when you're like, those day one people, Mr. Slee's like, who's left, Jack? You're taking all these shots at MJF going, hey, man, half a decade later, why are you still here?
or no, more appropriately for MJF, half a decade later, why are you still cutting the same low-hanging fruit promos?
Dang, he's the new Sami Zayn, Jack. This is the hottest angle in wrestling. across the world. He joined the Hurt Business.
Oh my goodness. But getting back to the WWE side of things, I hope the best for Jade. I hope whoever she faces at SummerSlam, it's a good match, you know. But it's like you're just
I
not
hope
seeing those
Naomi.
strides, you know.
I hope that this is all just a vehicle to get Naomi to be like a new Seth Rollins, a new like ruiner, you know. But it would be not ruining, it would making things better. How bad was it that they got Jade on the mic too after saying, "Don't let people tell you can't do something because, ma'am, my niece taught me this one. I'm gonna hold your hands while I say this." I forgot who we were talking about, but she said, "I'm gonna hold your hands while I tell you this," and I'm like, "That's such a good one."
Oh man. But Jade beats Asuka. Now we're left wondering.
Oh, and I don't think it's out loud, but Asuka was amazing. Like, she tried so hard. Asuka is literally fighting her own shadow out there.
She did her best. But that takes us to our main event of the show. John Cena versus CM Punk for the undisputed WWE Championship. One last time.
You know, matches have sponsors now. Sponsored by Twitter.
This match is sponsored by Dawn Soap, because just like dishes, these two men are washed.
Whoa!
You know I gotta keep the hater gimmick
Jack,
up.
this is as good a time as any to tell you what my plans are for tomorrow. Jack, tomorrow I'm going to Ontario, California to witness in person AEW Dynamite 300.
Oh, nice.
Well, you know what propelled me to buy the ticket after all? They announced Okada versus Kota Ibushi. And I was telling my dad about it. I said, now, watching them wrestle in 2025 is surely going to be like watching Metallica in 2025 in the sense that this would all have been bad 10 years ago. Nevertheless, I'm going to enjoy it until the Don Callis family ruin everything.
Don Callis, man. I'll still never forgive him for that Forbidden Door Osprey Omega match. I'll never forgive him.
I liked it. I liked it that I could ignore it.
It was
you know
good,
what else I like?
The Wrestle Kingdom one was much better because he was not involved.
You know what else I like? The John Cena CM Punk match.
Yeah. This one, it was funny seeing the reactions, like, both, like, in real time and then after the match was done. Like, it was funny seeing, like, just how divisive this was, you know, which is kind of telling to both men in the ring and how divisive they can be in the wrestling world.
You mean like how half the crowd is still chanting for Cena?
Yeah. But also it's like divisive in the sense that like people like him, people don't, you know, it was like very similar. It was like this match was done and it was like a lot of people were enjoying it and then a lot of people were like, this was horrible.
What'd you think?
I thought it was, like, everything before the ending was pretty good, you know? I did find it a bit odd, though. The amount of, like, finishers that were done in this match, you know? Like, it felt like Cena hit the AA a good amount of times, you know?
I agree. And here's my headcanon for that. It's funny you should bring that up. Because I noticed as well, but I think, Jack, in their winter years, they are washed. And I think the AA just doesn't hit like it used to. Maybe if he hits it in like an Austin Theory, he'd get it done in one. But a CM Punk, you're operating on WWE 2K25 rules, you know? But also, it's an older heel. And he's a heel, Jack. He's a heel. Face Cena puts you away right away. But yeah, he's mean, and so he doesn't hit it as well somehow.
Yeah, that logic doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts on this one, sir?
This was. I think I've said it. You know what? Yeah, between the Cody match, not so much the Raquel match because she didn't end up winning, but like the Jacob Fatu match, this one, it had a story. Like this one had a lot of story behind it. It was gonna close it, right? And so that story involved a lot of people. So did this match. And I'll tell you what, Jack, sign me up for a good old fashioned tried and true WrestleMania 40 schmaz. That's what they love to do. It's like let's throw all the kitchen sink at them.
Yeah, and they threw everything.
And it all starts with a ref bump. Oh no, where are we? Is it 2022 Roman Reigns undisputed championship streak?
It's funny because at one point, my brother and dad thought that like the match was over because like the ref wasn't already found and like it was taking like forever. So they were like, "Did the match end?" And this is all post match stuff. But it wasn't until commentary. It was like, "And the ref is still down." It was like, "Oh, this match is still going."
I loved a ref coming down and Cena going, "Nope."
Yeah,
that was good.
Funny. That was good. How about Penta pulling a Jeff Hardy and doing his little walk and dance while doing a run in to save the good guy?
Poor Bronson Reed like waiting. He's just like, I guess I'll still punch you.
Oh man,
that's so funny.
Then yeah, so it was Penta and Sammy coming out to counter Bronson, Braun Breaker, and Seth. And Cena stops that ref from coming in.
Yep.
And then
we get a moment where it looks like Punk and Cena are gonna hug again, like they did at Elimination Chamber. But Cena throws us that, Elimination Chamber face. But Punk's ahead of him. They set all this up, Jack, to make it look like Punk would have won if not for Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Rollins with that curb stomp, with that continuity, Jack. You love to see it. That I'm not gonna let this man be champion.
Yeah, very good stuff. And then Cena gets the win.
Cena sneaks out the win.
And that sets up his rematch against Cody at SummerSlam.
Do you think Cody does it?
A part of me thinks so, but at the same time, just like, I don't know where they would go with Cody and his title reign,
Ooh.
Like, what?
Well,
who is he going to defend against that's going to make it different from the reign that just ended at Mania,
That's interesting. It's a good question. I saw somebody pontificate that, how close are we to a Cody heel turn? They got screenshots of him, Jack, with Jey Uso yeeting, and the man looks like he wants to kill him.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm very interested in, like...
I hear you. Like,
especially because... Like, if he wins, that opens the door for potentially a Cena face turn to make the final, 4 months of his farewell tour, like, actually let him be a babyface,
Yeah. Well, consider this. Consider Cody wins at SummerSlam. Seth cashes in. And there you go. Right itself.
Mm-hmm. I could see that working. It could make some sense.
Like I told you my predictions. Like I predicted there would be no cash in on this night, the Night of Champions. The Night of Champions that saw 2 championships defended. I said no cash in because that would be too interesting and exciting.
I started busting up laughing when you sent me that because it's so true.
Yeah. But Jack, what was your match of the night?
I guess Cena and Punk. I don't know. Not
Yeah,
too
me
much stood
too.
out for me with this one.
If I were to characterize the whole night as one match, I would say Night of Champions was a real Cody versus Orton curtain jerker King of the Ring finals. I almost called it a Jade Cargill Asuka Queen of the Ring finals because I thought like that at both that match got done what they wanted to get done. Jade wins. You're like, well, it wasn't pretty, but we got where we need to be, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think Orton, Cody got to where they needed to be, but in a more satisfying way.
But that leaves us with our predictions. Didn't read them out at the beginning. My dad
No.
chose Sami Zayn, Rhea Ripley, Jacob Fatu, Jade, Cody, and Cena. So if you're counting correctly, with Fatu being the only one wrong, my dad left this night with 5 points. I left with 3.
Wow.
I left with 3 with my only correct guesses being Sammy, Cody, and Cena. And Mr. Solis left with 4, getting Sammy, Jade, Cody, and Cena. And that brings our totals
Correct.
to 16 for myself, 17 for my dad, and 19 for Mr. Solis, still in the lead.
Never seen 19. Greatest of all time.
Uh, a lot. And then we got Evolution coming up, so that's going to be another round of predictions as well. But, sir, let's turn our
Yes, sir.
attention to outside the wrestling world for just a little bit, because it is getting
Okay.
up there in the time. I don't want to keep you too long, but the G1 Climax tournament is coming, and they announced the participants. I'm pulling up the list right now because, typical of me, I do not know who is in this. I know a couple of the names, but let me see. Here it is. New Japan G1 Climax 35 entrants revealed. And the blocks revealed. Wait, but is this the updated one with the... No, this isn't the updated one with the play-in matchups happening.
Because they filled in a few blanks, and, right?
Yeah, that's what... I can't find one. Okay, I'm just going to read this one and I'll see if I can find the play-in winners. A block consists of Hiroki Goto, Bolton Oleg, Yuya Uemura, Yota Tsuji, David Finlay, Evil, Sanada, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. B block contains El Phantasmo, Shota Umino, Shingo Takagi, Zack Sabre Jr., Great Khan, Gabe Kidd, Ren Narita, and returning for the second year in a row, Konosuke Takeshita.
Uh-huh.
Looking like a good one. Especially the B block. I'm looking at a lot of those matchups and I'm like, I'm very interested.
Oh, so I guess they haven't had these matches to decide like who filled. I think there's some open spots.
Well, I think, what's his name? Callum Newman. And
Yeah.
I think Maloney got in.
Yeah, he's in B.
Yeah.
He's a debutant.
Yeah, he got into B block. I don't know about A block though. I think I have a feeling.
So you read 9 names in A and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 names in B. So there is like one spot in each block. In A, it might be Satoshi Kojima. It might be Ryohei Oiwa. Or it might be Taichi. And then in B, it might be Tomohiro Ishii, Chase Owens, or Yoshihashi.
Interesting. Oh wait, hold on. I think I found it. Let me see. Hold on, let me pull up Okay, yeah. So for B block, not to spoil things for you, sir, but B block, Drilla Maloney beat Ishii to qualify, and Newman beat
I just
Taichi.
need that right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see
Damn.
who are the other ones. I'm trying to see where. The issue is I don't know where they did a lot more of these, like, how would you call them? Like the qualifying matches. So I'm trying to see if I see them. There's Maloney, there's Taichi. I don't know if they've done the other ones because I'm looking and I don't see the names you
No, this
mentioned.
says that they're gonna do them on the 4th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the
So
Budokan.
So we don't have the full one, but I mean, I don't think we're expecting any of the play-in winners to really win this tournament.
No, Jack. Don't sell him out. Don't sell him short. Chase Owens. This is the year of Chase Owens.
Chase Owens, my goodness. All right, but I bring it all up, sir, to say that you and I should make some predictions.
I predict I'm going to miss most of this tournament.
And obviously, these aren't canon to our current predictions because obviously my dad doesn't watch New Japan, so it's like he wouldn't be able to make proper predictions. But, sir, see, the difficult part about this now is knowing that Goto lost that title because everyone was like, Goto's going to take that belt all the way to Wrestle Kingdom. One of the younger guys is going to beat him for it more than likely. Everyone's looking at Yamura, Tsuji, maybe even Takeshita to come out of this and beat him. But now Zack Sabre Jr. has the title. And, I mean, there's no telling if he loses that title before Wrestle Kingdom, but it changes things up a lot because now you're like, well, if Zack takes this title all the way to Wrestle Kingdom, who's beating him for it?
In my head canon, Jack, Liv Morgan's injury was threw so much into pandemonium that she even threw the G1 climax and the heavyweight championship picture of New Japan in disarray.
Oh man, I'm trying.
Wait, Zach's gonna beat me? You're like, yeah, man. Didn't you hear? Liv Morgan like popped her shoulder or something. You're like, what?
Honestly, if Zack holds that title all the way to Wrestle Kingdom, if I'm thinking with that mindset, I think my prediction is probably Tsuji, because it's gonna be like the story of like, even though he's New Japan through and through, he's still technically a gaijin. So it's gonna be like one of New Japan's own guys taking that title back for New Japan. You know, like one of their own in a sense. It's like the only way I can think about it.
Now, I think the last week, the last couple of months, I think it's got me shook, Jack. They could change the title in October at like Royal Quest or something.
Yeah.
Who, like, I'm looking at the list. I'm like, who's got the most momentum? Gabe Kidd. The only reason why he wouldn't win it is the global heavyweight champion. Oh, but they love a good champion versus champion. Let's ruin Mr. Solis's night like this.
Man. There's also like the wild card of Takeshita because New Japan really likes him, and I mean everyone heard me rave about Takeshita's G1 last year and how much I wished, like, because he just gels so well with a lot of, especially like New Japan's younger guys. Like that's why I like him so much in New Japan, especially like more than right now in AEW, is because it's like he gels so well with their younger core. And honestly elevates them to the level that everyone wants them to be at, you know? Like, I think, like, for the most part, like, Tsuji and Yamura and Narita, they all kind of looked their best when they were facing off against Takeshita in the G1 last year. You know, it was like, he really kind of brought out something different in them that really made them, like you watch those matches and you were like, yeah, I could see them being those like next guys versus like when they're having other matches and you're like, man, your flaws are very apparent right now. You know, like the reason why you haven't gotten to that main event level yet. Which I mean, it's not their fault. They're still very young. They still need to really develop. But it's like New Japan's main event scene is the state it's in. It's like they basically hit the emergency call up button, and we're like, we need you guys to be at this level now. You know.
Jack, who did Zack Sabre Jr. beat for the title last year?
Sonata? Was it Sonata?
I think so. I think so. Golly, would I'd love that.
Yeah. In all honesty, just because of how good their match was last year, I wouldn't mind Yuya and Takeshita facing off in the finals. See, I want to think Takeshita gets it, like, again, because New Japan has been loving him being there, but it's like, it's that whole dual contract thing where I'm just like, is AEW going to be willing to part with what they view as one of their base? I mean, they don't really. I mean, okay, I want to be fair. He is involved in a lot of top storylines, but like, in comparison to how New Japan would use him and how AEW would use him, it's like drastically different, you know? But it's like that dual contract really makes me look at it and go, I don't think AEW wants to part with Takeshita for like a good chunk of time, especially because if he wins that title, you know they're going to be like, well, we want him carrying it on Dynamite. We want him even defending it. But it's like, okay, he can do that, but he also still has to be defending his title at New Japan shows, you know?
Yeah, I just looked it up, Jack. Zack Sabre Jr. beat Naito.
Wow, I don't
We
remember
forgot about
that.
Naito, who won it from Moxley, who won it from Naito, who won it from Sonata in a very, busy 2024. But Zack Sabre Jr. beat Naito in October. Maybe because he wanted to win it in England, but also maybe because nobody thought Naito was going to make it to January. But
Okay, now I remember that.
like thinking in 4D chess, Jack, right? You love to see Takeshita win it all, right? But like I saw most of Dominion. Jack, they rebuilt the House of Torture. They like reinforced the House of Torture.
Oh, I saw that.
Like it's crazy. And I wonder, Jack, like, do you follow me here? Do you have Evil win it? Like I've wanted since he won it in 2020. And then Dave Finlay challenge at Wrestle Kingdom because they got I want Dave Finlay versus Evil to run it back. To like close the loop on like that Warring Bullet Club factions thing. But that's just me. That's me booking with my heart.
So much like to think about with this G1 this year. It's like it's very different.
How are we going to make a prediction? We going to pick one guy?
Yeah, who we think is going to win?
Like we should pick an A block guy, a B block guy, and then a winner overall.
Yeah, I think that'll work. All right,
Okay.
sir. Who is your A block winner?
It's Hiroshi Tanahashi.
All right.
You laugh. Are you laughing? No, don't put Hiroshi Tanahashi for me. I'm just being silly.
I mean, I wouldn't
It's
put it
absurd
past
to
him.
see him still here. But wait a minute, it's his final appearance. Oh no, it's his final appearance.
That's why I was like, I can see it happening.
Oh no, I can too. And then they throw it all away. He wins the G1. He challenges ZSJ in October, and he blows it. And then they go with something completely different for January.
Well, don't forget, they signed that Olympic wrestler, so like that's gonna be Tanahashi's final match. I think they said it's like facing that debut.
Really?
Yeah, they said he's gonna face that debuting like Olympic wrestler that signed with New Japan. So it's like they're gonna pull an Okada and strap the rocket to that guy, have him beat Tanahashi, debut match, win the title, debut match. It's gonna happen.
What's his name? Is his name Table Gibson?
Oh my gosh.
You go first, Jack.
I think for my A block, I'm trying to think, do I want to book with my heart or book with New Japan? But again, I don't know what New Japan's doing, seeing as how Zack Sabre Jr. won the title back. I'm going to book with my heart, and I'm going to say Yamura wins the A block and Takeshita wins the B block. Just because I want to see that match again.
That is quite the heart-heavy choice. And between those two, who wins?
Surprisingly enough, I'm going to go with Yamura.
Right on.
I think Yamura wins. Honestly, it's kind of surprising me, but I think I kind of have more faith in him having a sustainable world title run over the other younger ones right now, just because I feel like I've seen a bit better from him than the others. Because like Tsuji's kind of had a couple of like matches where you're just like you're not ready, but then you go on and have performances that make us think you're ready. Like it's very very much like a seesaw with Tsuji sometimes. And Umino, talk about a cool off with that guy.
Golly.
How about you, sir?
I'm going to go with Goto for A. I'm going to pick the brains, Jack. I'm going to be I'm what's her name? Gato. I'm Gato. It's Goto for A. And it's Gabe Kidd for B.
Interesting. And who wins?
Goto.
All right. The G in G1 stands for Goto this year.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I thought you were going to like make a joke that like Gabe Kidd wins and challenges IWGP champion Will Ospreay, who beat Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door in the O2 Arena.
Is that a thing? Is that happening?
Well, that's where everyone's mind went after the results of Goto's Sabre Jr., where people were like, I blame Tony Khan. Like, he clearly wants Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay.
I haven't heard anything about Forbidden Door.
Yeah, they were like, he clearly wants Ospreay's Sabre Jr. in London. So everyone like immediately went towards blaming Tony Khan. It was hilarious.
But if Swerve and Ospreay beat the Bucks, aren't they EVPs? And isn't he going to be busy running a company?
That is true.
There it is. It's late August.
I don't know. There's so much to take into consideration with just this one tournament. Isn't that funny?
Don't forget, Jack. Liv Morgan separated her shoulder.
Oh man. Oh,
if I were picking with my heart, Jack, I'd want Sonata to come back with a vengeance. But I saw Dominion. Dude came out, cornered Fale with a guitar. I'm like, you were talking about that cooling off period for Shota Umino. Golly, I think I'm worried about Sonata. Like, I check in on him from time to time.
Oh man. Well, that's all I have for outside the wrestling world. We can hopefully cover All In when it happens.
And when, Jack, are we going to come back and record our review of AEW's Dynamite 300?
Oh, man.
I kid. But I'm looking forward to it. The last time Mercedes Moné and Mina Shirakawa fought at the Toyota Center, Mercedes lost the belt. Oof, I'd love for that to happen again.
Yeah, it's funny. I've seen people be like, "No, that's gonna like hurt the momentum of like the match at All In," but it's just like, you thought Mr. Solis hated champion versus champion. How about champion versus champion times 6 at this point or something.
Yeah, Mercedes. Hey, how about the rumor, Jack? That there's a few rumors. Ready? Did you hear who Mercedes Monet is dating
Oh
nowadays?
yeah, I heard about that one.
Um, what's his name?
Beast Mordos.
The Beast Mordos, and who Jack has appeared on a couple of different main events AEW television recently. The Beast Mortos.
Who got let back in to compete in Arena Mexico after all those years? The Beast Mordos.
Mm,
Is that the
mm.
NWO theme song I hear in the background? Oh man. A lot to look forward to in the coming weeks of wrestling though.
Yes, sir.
Got Evolution, got All In. I guess Saturday night main event. You know, Saturday night's advertising is what it's more like.
Jack, Goldberg's definitely his last, I promise, last match. And how about them Gunther promos? How about Gunther reminding us who Gunther is? Looking dead-eyed in the camera. And like, it's subtle, Jack. It's tiny. But I like that he never tells it to his face, that he always has to, because he is a heel, Jack. He is a coward, you know? I do like that very subtle, like, I was in the ring with you and I could have told you to your face, but I didn't because, Goldberg.
Yeah, that was a good one. Any final thoughts, though, sir, for the audience?
Any final thoughts? Happy 4th of July to you and the Castillos.
Happy 4th of July to our listening audience as well. Because that will be in a couple days. 3 days to be exact.
Yes, it will.
Let's see. Any final thoughts? I stand 10 toes on my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time list, even if it's very telling of my age.
What part of that was like, do you think your age is showing?
The fact
I waited for that.
The fact that only like 2 wrestlers on the list like debuted in like the 90s. I was like, everyone else came.
Yeah,
afterwards.
you know what? When I was writing my own list, Jack, I was like thinking about my favorite, right? Like not who I think are the top, just my top. They're all from 20, like they're mostly from 20 years ago.
Yeah, so like when I was making this list, I was like, man, people are gonna listen to this and be like, this guy doesn't know anything. Like these are all wrestlers of like the past, like who have had their peaks in like the past decade or two, you know. But like it's like all recency bias, and it's like I can't help it that that's what I majorly watched in the 2000s and 2010s, and now when I get to rewatch them with like a more mature mind and appreciation, you know, it's like I can't help it that I like watching Shingo Takagi in Ring of Honor in 2008.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun list to do. It was very fun to do and to like come up with, because then it was like every time I was just like, I'm forgetting someone, or like I feel bad leaving this person off, but I do like the list I came up with.
This weekend when I was wanting a reason to buy a Karrion Kross t-shirt or a Jacob Fatu t-shirt, I don't know, something occurred to me, Jack, that like if I told you I've had literally 10 or less wrestling t-shirts like over the last 20 years, like if maybe it's a dozen, but I don't think it is. And like if I drew up that list of what wrestlers impressed me enough that I bought a t-shirt, it would be a very elite list of people.
Man, that's good. Like I just read like that's a pretty cool feat right there.
Yeah, like I'm actually very discriminatory, and like if I go back, and my mom actually has them all still like in her house, I'm like, honestly, I think I can think of all of them, and it might not be more than a baker's dozen.
The only reason I can't do that, and I feel like you could probably also relate as an artist, is that even if I like a wrestler, wrestling t-shirt designs nowadays are not the kind you want to be like, yeah, I'd wear this regularly. I'd wear this out in public. Like so many of the shirts, I'm like, This is the ugliest thing imaginable.
Oh yeah, no, Kane is up there. Never had a Kane shirt.
Yeah, like I think so. Some of my favorites. I'm just like, why do you have to look like a wrestling T-shirt? You know, like why can't you just look like a regular shirt that someone would wear?
Please.
Oh, man. But with that all being said, thank you all for joining us for another episode, another yap session. As always,
Yeah.
I've been Jack, joined by my fellow guests,
Mr. Solis, who will no longer be a Bloomfield Mr. Solis, but next time you hear me, I will be a Simon Tech Mr. Solis.
nice, and I will still be Jack the next time you hear us.
That's right.
Thank you all for joining for another episode, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.